Okay, so today we're going to talk about chapter 2. And I can only stress a million times, I'm a very repetitive person by nature in terms of my instruction as a professor, but I can only elaborate a million times if I had the breath to, is that in order for you guys to excel, particularly for this online class and moving forward throughout your accounting career, you have to prepare accordingly. Preparing accordingly consists of doing the homework, watching the lectures, rewatching the lectures, applying to what you learn, reading the book, connecting the dots. You have to connect the dots. You would literally have to spend at least, in my suggestion, at least a minimum of an hour and a half a day to successfully master what's given to you and what's presented throughout this textbook. Moving forward to chapter 2 brings to the fact that you have to understand what's going on in chapter 1. So hopefully at this level, at this point in time, all of you who are watching this will have a good idea, a sense of understanding the fundamentals of what's going on in the framework from pertaining to chapter 1 at least. Okay, so chapter 2 is going to connect the dots and show you guys how we go by recording information. Chapter 1, for the most part, gave you the framework of how transactions affect the accounting equation. We're going to take that framework of how transactions affect the accounting equation, and we're going to apply that to how we begin to record the information. Okay, so this is probably the most critical part of this whole textbook because it sets the foundation of how do you properly record. In order to understand anything about accounting and be able to make decisions about businesses, you have to understand how the stuff was being recorded. All right, so without any further ado, I will proceed. So what we're going to talk about is the two important books of accounting. What two books that an accountant has to use in order to understand or master the discipline. So the two books of accounting. First book, journal. Second book, the ledger. So, your journal. Your journal is a book that you have that you basically record. That's where you record all your activities or all your transactions throughout your company's life. So inside the journal is the book in which you record the transactions. Okay? So your journal, you journalize. Basically, recording is journalizing. And so we're going to learn today how to record, i.e. journalize inside of the journal. Once those accounts that are affected are journalized into the journal, it then goes, the information is then transferred into the ledger. Okay? We're going to spend most of the time on the ledger right now. Your ledger is considered a list of accounts or a book of accounts. Every single account that you could possibly think of is going to sit there inside of the ledger. Okay? Any asset, any liability, any pieces of stockholders' equity, right? So it could be cash, accounts receivable, land, furniture, accounts payable, notes payable, salaries payable, retained earnings, revenues, rent expense, supplies expense. We could go on forever. Okay? But all of those particular accounts will sit inside your ledger. And your ledger keeps all the activities or the effects of each account. Okay? So for example, if we were to open up the ledger, you would see a series of different accounts. Okay? And each account would have their own T accounts. These are called T accounts. Okay? Why are they called T accounts? Because they look like T's, obviously. So that's cash is an asset. Let's say accounts payable. Accounts payable, keyword payable, it's a liability. And let's say common stock. Common stock is a part of paid-in capital, which is a part of retained earnings. And I could list them all day if I wanted to, right? But this is what will all be considered inside of your ledger. Okay? So your ledger consists of each account with their own T accounts. Okay? Now, the reason they're called T accounts is because they separate each account into two sides. As you can see, for each account, we have two sides. We have a left side and a right side. We have a left side and right side. Here we have a left side and a right side. And that's why we use the T accounts, okay? And again, it would be all the different accounts that you could possibly think of that's been affected, okay? Now, in accounting, we have our own language. I think by definition, some people consider accounting to be the language of business because that's how you speak to people about how your business is doing through accounting information. But either way, we like to, instead of saying the left side of the T account and the right side of the T account, we like to call it something different. It's a different language. So we're not going to use the word left. We're not going to use the word right for the T accounts. What we're going to use, instead of saying the word left, we're going to say debit. Debit simply means the left side of the T account. That's all debit means, the left side of the T account. Right side of the T account, we won't use the word right. We're going to use the word credit. Credit. Credit simply means the right side of the T account. That's all credit means, is the right side of the T account. So we have debit, left side of the T account, credit, right side of the T account. Debit, left side of the T account, credit, right side of the T account. Debit, left side of the T account, credit, right side of the T account. Credit does not mean to put anything back. It does not mean to owe in accounting. We don't use that word credit for none of those other various things that you understand the word credit to be. What you should do is take everything that you know about the word credit, leave it outside. Okay? Right now in accounting, credit only means what? Right side of the T account.